We are live. Oh my gosh, guys, thank you so much for joining our live. We have an exciting topic to discuss because it has been ongoing since the beginning of this year. And actually, last year was crazy. This year, we saw that craziness still in the first quarter. And then all of a sudden, boom, second quarter. And then now into the third quarter, we're seeing the buyer sentiment change. So we do have a special guest, and we'll get to him in a minute. But before we do, I want to introduce ourselves. We are ATX Homegirls. We're a diverse group of local realtors bringing you guys valuable content about all things real estate. Melissa, go ahead and introduce yourself, girl.
Okay, sorry, I was turning my ringer off, guys. I don't want business to be calling when I'm on the live, but I will show y'all my granddaughter. Hold on, there she is.
Oh, cutie, cutie. She's so cute. She's cute, Melissa.
Yeah, she's my baby. Okay, so let me make sure I'm charged in, guys, because the last thing I need is to have another blackout situation.
You were your screen before we went live, it kept freezing, so hopefully that doesn't happen. I will take a screenshot and it looks hilarious.
Yeah. Liza likes to do that whenever I freeze and my face.
You do it to me too. You do it to me too.
We'll screenshot. So my name's Melissa. Thanks for those that are tuning back in again. Thanks a lot for continuing to support us and have fun with us. And we love doing this mostly because we want to help people, but it's also a lot of fun. And we get special guests like Jorge that we are about to introduce. As y'all know, I've been in real estate, residential real estate. I'm from Austin. I'm from Southeast Austin. I am your 78741 Montopolis home girl. That's why we are the home girls. And my mom still lives over there, my grandma, and I'm very proud of the city and where I'm from and the neighborhood and the people that I've been able to help. I'm a mother of two, and y'all all know that I have a granddaughter, and she's my world. And I live in Manor. Focus a lot in Manor, but help all of Austin. And I love doing this, and thanks for being here.
Yay, thank you, Melissa. And again, I know you guys are waiting to see Jorge, who's our special guest here, but I'm going to introduce myself real quick, and then we'll get to him. My name's Liza Brazel, been in the real estate arena, if you want to say, for about 10 years. And I primarily serve in the residential sector. So I've been helping home buyers, both Spanish and English speakers, for that long, which is crazy. I absolutely love it. And I don't normally go into it that much, but believe it or not, the reason I got into real estate was, I'm going to be so embarrassed about saying this, but I saw HGTV back in 07, 08, and I used to be a pastry chef back in the day. And I remember watching TV. I got out of my overnight shift, got home around 9 a.m. And I remember just, because I couldn't sleep. You know how the sun comes out. I don't know if you guys have worked overnight before, but the sun came out. It's an overnight shift. And I'm like, you know what? I can't sleep right now. So I remember watching HGTV and thinking, I can do what they're doing. And dang, I can, but it's tough at first getting into it. But anyways, enough about me, guys. I'm going to get into our special guest. Jorge, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jorge Aldrete, and I am one of the owners at Elite Financing Group. I've been doing mortgages since 2002. I've been invested in real estate since 2005. Those are both my two full-time jobs. I mean, the mortgage part of it, I love dealing with individuals, with people, biggest purchase, that they have, getting them into a house or refinancing them into a better position, whether they're getting a lower rate or a cash out loan. To consolidate bills. And then as a real estate investor, I've been doing it for so long. I've tried everything, and from flipping to short-term rentals to holding long-term, I just kind of fell in love with that world, and that's what I continue to do to build wealth. So thank you so much for having me here.
Awesome.
Jorge, can you tell us about where you're from, where you grew up?
I was born and raised in Mexicali, Baja California. So it's on the border with California. It's on the Mexican side, of course. So born and raised there. And then at 13 years old, I used to be a tennis player. And I went to a tennis academy in Tucson, Arizona, where I stayed with a family there. So I left my parents. I mean, it was 4.5 hour, 5 hour drive from our hometown. But I went to a tennis academy at 13 and never pretty much, I kind of stayed here in the States. It was an opportunity my mom and my dad gave me and sacrifice, and I've been trying to make the most out of it since then. So
You're missing the U.S. Open right now, so thank you for being on this live because I know it's a big one.
I feel bad.
will tell us the results.
Oh man, I know. I was watching it. That's why I was late jumping in on the live because if y'all don't watch tennis, this is big, guys. Serena Williams. This is her final.
I don't watch any sports, but if it's big, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. That's how ignorant I am sometimes about other things that people care about. So
Jorge, and I know you guys, we're going to jump into all the stuff that we're going to talk about, but I'm just curious. Do you want to ask him about the type of investments he's doing later on in the live?
Yeah, let's. If you don't mind, Jorge, we'll hold that off till towards the end. I think that'll tie in nicely with everything that we're trying to discuss.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Jorge, for introducing yourself. Guys, the reason we're excited about talking about this topic is because we titled it, Can I Still Buy a Home? Should I still buy a home, right? We've seen interest rates continue to climb. They go down a little bit, then climb. And they're not at what people are used to seeing in the 4s or 3s, even the 5s. I mean, I think right at the 5% borderline, people are like, okay, this, and then now it's like, I think past that. I don't know, Jorge, if you want to jump into that and let us know about what's going on.
We're right there, kind of hovering in the, low to mid 5s then it goes to high 5s and then comes down. I mean, we've been in the 5s for a little bit now, thinking this, which we were in the 6s for a little bit of time. People were freaking out, but I mean, when I got in the market back in 2002, 2003, 4, 5, I mean, it was 6.25, 6.5. And then you just kind of have a refi, like kind of rates go down and it's just a cycle. So they're normal rates, everybody. It's, I know we've been spoiled for the last, couple of years for sure.
Thank you for mentioning that because not normal, you guys, is what we just came out of.
Right.
We talked about that on this live and how when we were really jazzed about it because when we started the YouTube live, we were going into spring. So some of the first lives we talked about were don't wait. You should probably buy. It's probably the best interest rate you're going to get for a long time. That things are cyclical. They'll go up and they'll come down again. But, that time has passed and we all know what's happened. So thank you for saying that because I think that for people that took advantage, congratulations, guys, because you did really good.
Right.
For those who did the refis last year, man, I mean, hats off because those were some really good refi rates. So that was not normal. But I think what you say, Jorge, now, this is kind of what normal-ish looks like between the 4 and the 5.5 to,
That's exactly right. Yeah, those have been normal for the last decade. I would say we were in the 4s for most of those 10 years. The 2010 through 20, COVID hit, and man, we saw some amazing rates for at least for the first time in my career in 2021. I mean, just it was amazing. As far as for those that bought and refinanced their house the last couple of years, but it's not the norm. Norm has been 4 to in the 5s, and that's normal in the 6s. I mean, it's still okay.
Right.
It's not that bad. I mean, we've seen worse, right? I mean, I got to do some loans in the 7s and the 8s at one point in the beginning of my career, and again, you see those, and so now it's seeing those in the 5s again. It's exciting, at least for now.
Isn't that funny how you're excited and I'm excited and people are freaking out still?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's first time home buyers. I mean, when everybody was telling the stories the last couple of years of, hey, we're in the 3s or in the 2s or, and then to be able to say, hey, I want to buy my next house whenever they're in the 3s. Well, good luck.
Yep.
We don't know when that's going to happen, and you're going to be paying somebody else's mortgage, in the meantime, or an apartment, which again, I mean, this is said a lot in our world. It's, paying rent is 100% interest,
Yes.
It's a lot better to pay 6, 5, 4 than 100.
This is super controversial. Can you see it, Liza? What does it
Yes.
say?
Okay, hold on a second. Let me read it. This is from Dave Ramsey. I hope we don't have any Dave Ramsey fans out there. I'm going to read it real quick. It says, renting is not a waste of money. It's buying patience until you're ready to buy a home.
You guys, they blew him up on Instagram. People were like, no. No.
Look, and here's the thing. People will probably say we're probably biased because we're realtors and then you're a lender, Jorge.
Yeah.
I just don't think so. I'm speaking from an unbiased perspective. I think what he said, no, I
don't think so.
All kinds of wrong. What do you think?
I think that it's not the right statement for those that are ready to purchase.
Right.
I want to say that he meant, hey, don't rush to buy in just to buy. But those that are looking to purchase, it's still a fantastic time to buy a house. If you have the down payment, if you're financially, good to purchase a house, then find the house that you love, and then the rates, when they come down, just refinance it. Once they, if you buy right now at 5.5% or 6% interest rate or 5.25%, whatever it is, when the rates come down to 4.5%, 4.25%, 4%, then refinance. But you're still in the house that you love.
Yeah.
And so
read some of these comments.
That's go for it.
This lady says, I respectfully disagree, and I'm a landlord. Too many renters out there. Too many renters are out of a place to stay because landlords are selling their homes. And then this other guy says, hold on. The cost of those, hold on, let me get to it, guys, because this was a good one. Oh, he's responding to some of these. I think they're really blowing him up.
Well, and the other thing is the rents are going up, right?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Oh, where is it? It says, I bought mine with 5% down. My mortgage is less than 20% of my take home. Rents only keep rising. Good point. And then this other lady says, by the time you save that money, that house is worth $100,000 more. And that's kind of what I want to take away from that post, right? Because you said it, I think, before we hit the live, like, you're not marry the home, not the mortgage rate, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like, hands down, if there's like a thumbs down on that post, I would do it. Not just because I'm a realtor, but because I don't want anybody to put off the dream of home ownership. Liza and I talked about this earlier today because I was on the phone with her when I saw that post. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Well, of course, a lot of his audience are renters, right? A lot of his paid audience are renters. Mm-hmm. So no, don't put off your dream of home ownership, right? Like, why would you do that? Continue to work, have some reserve there. And yes, there are programs, we've talked about this before, for down payment and that sort of thing, but don't sleep on yourself and your ability to build something for you and your family, right? Like, just don't do it. Don't wait. That's what I would say.
I think it's like everything, right? I mean, whether you buy a house or for yourself or an investment property, whatever the case is, it's over time, you can go to sleep and that equity keeps building up. I mean, unless we have this drastic drop, but then again, even when we had the drastic drops in prices, they came back up big time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when they do, you have equity that you can use towards, whether it is, your kids going to college, which they're forgiven loans apparently. And so, but to do any home improvements to the house, it doesn't have to come out of your pocket, because of course, having a house, sometimes you're going to have little things that you want to do to it or little fixes here and there, but you can use that equity over time. And if you're constantly saving money and then paying cash, I mean, which is his deal, right? His deal is pay cash for everything, right? Buy a car, cash, don't use credit cards or whatever it is that he says. Honestly, I don't follow him. But it's just one of those things that if you do that constantly paying cash for everything, I mean, when are you going to have money to build?
Exactly.
Like if it's going to be put in stocks, I mean, personally, I'm not very savvy with stocks. Wasn't made that way, but I understood real estate and I decided to go that route. And it has made me a lot more money a lot quicker than stocks. But again, some people know stocks, and I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just saying what works best for me.
I wish I was good at stocks, but I bet I put my money in real estate because it's a sure thing.
Absolutely. No, believe me too. I wish I was, smarter for that part of it. But I mean, God made it for me. It's like I was able to understand real estate and mortgages, a lot easier. And so I just decided to kind of put my efforts into that.
So I have a question about that. So I know sometimes a lot of people, they do love hearing stories, but they also want to know, they also have that question, well, what about now, right? What are you doing now? You did this back then. And if you don't mind sharing with us, Jorge, perhaps if you recall, what year did you purchase your first real estate investment?
Well, it was in 2005.
Okay. And what was the interest? What were the interest rates then? What was the market like then? I wasn't in real estate back then. So
I think in 2005, when I bought that house, it was either, like high fives, I want to say, or maybe six at that point. I can't remember. But I bought it for us as a primary house in Cedar Park, and then turned it into an investment about a year later.
Okay.
We bought, and then I started buying another house, and then turned it into investment. Bought another house, investment. Then all of a sudden, I had 3 long-term homes. And they built equity, over time, and then sold them. Unfortunately, I sold them too early. I should have waited until now. But,
you acted now. You didn't wait.
Fantastic. They were located in real. I mean, I had a house in Circle C and one in Westlake.
You missed out. Double, right? I don't know.
But anyways, I mean, I used the money that I made out of those homes and invested it somewhere else, and so it just kind of continues, right? So I did that. It was back in 2005 when I started turning things into investment, the long term. And everybody has a different plan, different path. It can be, I tried it all. I tried long term. I did flips. I have done, try to go on the commercial development side as well for real estate, and then short term rentals, and then build and sell. So I have gone into everything to understand what works and what doesn't, right? And so what has worked for me. So it's been a fun journey, and you got to figure out what that journey is for you. But I mean, buying property in itself helped me turn around, great wealth, right? And so that was the biggest thing.
So to follow up on that, in this market, it's 2 questions. What's your favorite type of investment for real estate? I know you mentioned short terms, long term, and building and selling them. What's your favorite one? And then what will you do in this market today? If you were going to buy one today, right now, what would you do? I'm
doing 2 things. I'm looking into short-term rentals. So I'm looking around at locations in that would generate at least 20% return minimum on my money, on my investment. I got lucky. I invested in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Continues to be a great market as they're building the biggest casino in the nation, Indian casino in the nation there. And
I'm gonna write this down. Hold on, let me take some notes.
You guys gotta visit. It's an amazing. It truly is an amazing town. But I think. I haven't counted it, but I think I bought 14 properties. I've sold 11, and I have 3, and they're being built because I bought them brand new. So the next 3 are being built, and so. But it was one of those things that I visited over and over and over. A place that we love to go, my wife and I, and it just. I mean, it was one of those things that, Jenny goes, hey, I really want to buy a second house here, want it to be our place. So I started talking to agents. I started talking about the market, the population and the traffic that they were receiving. I started talking to property management companies, to several, to see what they're looking at as far as the occupancy ratio, throughout the year. And it was, I think, it was like 50% on homes of 3 or 4 bedrooms and above. And then it was like 60% or more on 1 bedroom, like honeymoon suites, right?
Right.
And so I bought I brought a 1 bedroom, a 2 bedroom, a 6 bedroom, and then just kept going.
Mhm.
So, but I saw the market where we liked it. So our first purchase was a bigger home for us personally, but to invest, and it was a great return. I mean, I think on my money, I was getting somewhere in the vicinity of a year, it's like 40-50%. I mean, it was insane. And
Yeah.
then I started, and then I said, you know what? I sold one of my commercial properties, and then I put, money into more homes. And so, and that's when we started buying like 9 more, we bought 9 more right away within about for like 4 months. But I went in with people, like with relatives, with close friends, that I felt like, you know what, I trust them. They let me do my thing because I had done my due diligence. So they just were silent investors and trusted me with their money. And, I put that money to work, and it was easier, right? You can buy more properties when you have more, a partner or two or whatever the case is.
I know what I've been telling you.
What I like what you're telling me, Jorge, is the thing is the market's not deterring you. What you're doing is you see a problem. There's a solution. There's a way to make this goal happen for you. It met all your criteria, more than 20%. It had you already talked to property managers, you talked to realtors in the area, you felt comfortable when making that decision despite the market. So I think that's incredible, and I think that's an important message to the audience when it comes to buying a home. And this isn't really speaking to just people that are looking to buy a home as a primary residence. It's overall, right? Short-term, mid-term rentals, long-term rentals, primary residence, vacation home, all of that, because that all falls into buying a home. So that's awesome. So which one is your favorite?
Well, I all of them, right? Because I honestly, there's properties that I buy for to gain equity that I know they're going to be an equity play. So I'm like, hey, as long as they pay for the mortgage in about 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they're going to be worth 100, 200 grand more, whatever the case is. So I do each play. And so then I buy the short-term rentals, where I see that there's going to be a minimum of 20% return plus the equity, right, over time. So to me, it's just the opportunity. So over time, now that I've studied what I like to do, is I'm looking for, for good deals overall, right? And so everybody is, but the idea is to always have, verbalize like, hey, I'm always like, I'm an investor. I'll pay cash. So if there's somebody that needs to sell quick, sometimes people are like, they want to sell quick and they're willing to give you a $50,000 off. Like, hey, just close in 2 weeks. Let's do it. Or
want that certainty that it's going to happen and that you're not going to back out. Look, they're like, look, man, we'll give it to you at this price, but don't back out on me. And I think that's what sellers are looking for. In this market, right?
But I think that always, like, you don't have to do it alone, and you can find somebody that you trust, and the people. And I have several friends that still tell me that I trust, that they're like, hey, Jorge, I want to invest with you. I want to invest with you because they've seen over the years, it's gone great. And so I know how to at least invest so we don't lose money. We make money now. And so, but there's some times that I'm like, I'll only do it whenever I need it, right? If I can do it alone as well, I'll do some alone. But for the most part, I like doing it with my close family, friends, because it's just more fun for me doing it together than by myself. Honestly,
you're helping people. So probably feels good to help them.
There's like a mission, a purpose now. You're like, okay, we got to make this happen. We got to make this work. You're laser focused now. So that's awesome.
You're helping others as well. For me, I'm the one that handles that part right in my end, where I do my due diligence. I'm the one invested. I'm the one finding everything. So I just tell them, I'm like, hey, you want to jump in? And literally they don't have to do anything, thank goodness. But and then they just get a payout, right? And so, but it's fun for me. I do it, and I'm able to help other people, that are in circle, to just to make some money on the real estate world that they would not have done so before. So it's fun. Do it with people that you love, that you trust.
You ready to go in, Liza? You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Really fun.
Hit me.
Really fun. So
Yeah, I haven't, and I've been trying. I've been looking, and then it's weird what happens because I'm trying to do it all, and I'm looking, and Melissa knows this. We've been like messaging back and forth, and then I'm like, oh, that one's not going to work out because of my budget. I have a budget, right? I have a budget that's gonna. Things have to line up just like you had said. It has to meet a certain. All the parameters have to meet for me in order for it to work because I only have a certain budget. I don't have endless capital that if it didn't work out, that it would be okay. So yeah, that's why I love having these conversations because there's people out there like yourself, Jorge, that have experience in acquiring this wealth by purchasing your first real estate and letting it snowball, right? And then Melissa, who also has recently purchased some properties as well, that's working well for her. And then there's people that are in my position that have not, right? That have not pulled the trigger. And it's crazy. We have all kinds of worlds here in the profession, right? And I think it's good for people to hear that no matter in what state you are in your life, right?
Correct.
There's always opportunity. And we tend to focus on the chaos too much. And I wanted to just go back on, I went to this class that Melissa invited me to with J. Rick Robbins. And one thing that stuck out to me was you need to be laser focused with the things that you need to do, right? No matter what it is. And this applies to anybody, right? Home buying, anything in your life, while being aware of the chaos, right? So don't dismiss the news or anything. It's just people tend to believe everything in social media and let that deter them from doing what they want to do. But if it meets your parameters, right? If you have the income for it, you have the credit score for it, you have the down payment for it, the price of the home is right, and it works out, what does it matter what's happening in the market, right? There's an opportunity there, clearly an opportunity to make it happen. So yeah, thank you for that, for sharing for that, because that motivates me. I need that sometimes. I get distracted with being in my work and my job, that I forget about doing things for myself. So thank you for that.
I'm still going to put the pressure on her.
You are going to put the pressure on me. Yes.
I send her property almost every single day. But along those lines of like being nervous and being successful or just starting like me, I just encourage, if you're on this live or you watch it later, whatever the case, is that the first step to understanding whether or not this can work for you or what you have to do to make it work for you is to speak with a lender like Jorge that can explain what it is that you need to do, how much money you need to save, if you have debt to pay off, what that looks like for you, and having some reserve. And it's not, I always tell people sometimes it's not no, it's just not right now.
Right.
And not right now doesn't mean no. So, and a lot of folks, they say, well, I don't know where to start. It's literally where you start. You want to know what your buying power is, and don't be discouraged. Just ask the questions, apply for the loan, and then start first. And I put it up here on the screen. For most, your first real estate investment is likely your primary home. And we can call them investments. It is your primary home, but I call it investment because that's truly what it is, right?
Yeah.
You got to have an exit strategy one day, right? If you turn it into an investment property, you sell it, it's an investment. You want to cash out on it.
Exactly.
Right.
Like you did, Jorge. You moved into your Cedar Park home back, was this 03, 05?
05.
And then after a year. So, all right, let me ask you something. What made you, after a year, is this something you heard, or is this something you thought to yourself, you know what, after a year, let's move out? Or what? How did you come across that?
We didn't even think about it. It just, at that time in 05, we bought that house, and then we decided to move down south closer to my wife's parents. And she was born and raised in Austin. And so we moved to Circle C. And then we just said, hey, we'll just keep it. I wasn't going to make much money or any money off of that at that time. So we held that one. Circle C came around. We bought a house for $323,000. That was a 3,600 square feet home.
Oh, wow.
I can only imagine, dude. You feel like you missed out. When did you sell it?
I should have just kept them. But anyways, and we lived there for about 4.5 years. And then Jenny and I have always been very just adventurous. Like we just like move. We move a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just changed. It's always, I don't know. It just has always been fun for us and non-stressful. which is weird. And so, so after about 4.5 years, we lived downtown, and we did rent. I rented my property. We wanted to live in downtown for about a year. We have 3 kids. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment.
I hear you.
But we wanted to experience that. While we were doing that, we found a house in Lost Creek for $340,000.
Was it smaller or bigger?
2,700 square feet. So it was smaller, but it was 4 bedrooms, and and again, I mean, I kept it, and then at that point, we stayed there for a little bit. We moved back to our Circle C house after a few years because we wanted to rent this house out, and I wanted to prepare to save a little bit more money because I wanted to custom build a house,
right?
And so. And we moved, and so we knew that moving to Circle C at that to Cedar Park was a lower payment. So I was going to be able to save money a lot quicker. So we sacrificed that time to put more money aside, and then we custom built a house in Driftwood.
Mm-hmm. I like that area.
Beautiful out there.
And it was great. We lived there for almost 7 years, as well. And then we moved again, and then we continued.
I'm seeing like a pattern here. I mean, it's not like you planned out by, in 15 years, I'm going to have 15 properties. It just happened naturally. You're like, you know what? Things in your life that happened, and you're like, I'm going to buy this other one. Let me just hold on to this. And you started seeing, I think you started, maybe if I'm seeing this right, you started seeing what you were doing. You were building this portfolio.
I was building, yes, I wanted to build equity. I wasn't making money off of the rental, but I was building equity, and I knew that was the case. At the same time, this whole thing of flipping became so huge, at least for me at the time. And I was like, I'm like, screw it, I'm going to get into it, right? Yeah. And we did a few flips, made a little bit of money in some, didn't make on others, right? I mean, kind of flat out on some, but it was okay. It was experience. I didn't like it. Now dealing with the city of Austin, the delays and all this stuff, I was like, you know what, this is not for me. I don't have time for that. And then I said, I told my wife, and I turned when I turned 40, 4 years ago and stuff, and I was like, in my 40s, I'm going to stress myself out crazy. I said, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to be aggressive because I have high risk tolerance, right? And so I was like, I don't care if I just stress myself out so much to put us, by the time I'm 50, 55, we're set.
Right.
And so it was just a conscious decision that I made that I was going to invest in real estate very heavy for the next 10 years. Or 15 years, whatever the case is. And then, just kind of, I knew that in what I thought was going to be the solution was going to be a commercial development, because that takes a little bit longer. Buy properties, develop them, rent them, make money, and they build an equity big time. So I was like, okay, I'll have, whatever, a couple million.
You were going to swing big.
It's like, well, and for me, that was like, big at the time. Like, man, I'm like, I'm going to have $2-3 million by the time I'm like 50 and whatever the case is,
be
right?
Rich.
And I'm done. But it was, so we tried commercial. We bought 2 commercial properties. I bought them with the same partner. Man, we were paying somewhere in the vicinity of about $10,000 a month between him and I, just a cost. So it was like $5,000 a month, just like cutting checks every month. And then we were able to refinance one, thank goodness, to a lower payment. And so, but we kept them for about 3.5 years, like without doing anything, because we were trying to figure things out of what to do with them, right? And then all of a sudden, one of the properties, I'll tell you, like we bought it for $800,000. It was 4 acres off of Samsung.
Where?
That was Samsung. And that was very stressful for a while, but again, it was just cutting that check. I mean, it was not fun, but I knew that the play long term was going to be worth it. Whether we built apartments, we built a flex warehouse, we built we were just looking at whatever was going to make money. And so then we got an offer just from the land for what was it, 1.75 million, like 3.5, 4 years later.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
that was huge, right? I mean, everything we sacrificed, every check we cut, we were
It made it
stressed,
worth
but it was worth it. I mean, it was one of those things that it just taught me, like, hey, just sometimes those hardcore investments, are worth the wait, right? Whatever it is. And I thought we're going to build an apartment complex. It's going to be this, or just we were coming up with all these ideas. But I was like, because one of my goals in life is to own multi-unit, apartment complex, and so I was like, hey, I'm going to make $20,000 a month, $25,000, whatever the case is, and I'm good, So we sold it, and that kind of gave me money, for more investments down the line. But again, sometimes, this game, right? I mean, this investments are.
Yeah, it's an investment game.
Yeah.
It's an investment game, but sometimes they're not so much like, so fun in a way, but the vision, you need to be sure of the vision that you have and what the end goal is. And I knew that, and I was comfortable with it. So even though it was maybe stressful, but it was like, I was like, screw it. Like I'm going for it. So, and then all of a sudden I realized commercial development was not going to be my thing because that takes forever. So I joined the short-term world. I found it. I have enjoyed it. But again, I think that takes where you got to go look at places that you like to visit, even as an individual, or that are hot that are hot out there in the market. Go spend some time, ask questions, do the figures, invest with a partner or two, and a place that you want to visit whenever you guys have time to, so that way you have it to enjoy once in a while, and then just see what that feels like. And I think that you'll find your niche. But for me, it has been that is just I paid close attention to where I'm investing and to make sure that it generates. And now for newbies, it's the same thing. I mean, there's books on how people have become really wealthy, whether they're wholesaling, they're buying property, whatever the case is, read them. If you want to be an expert at buying real estate, read them. How to make money, read them. I'm not a big reader.
I want to be like retired at some point, as a realtor, right? Like I say this for anybody, if you're a 9-to-5er and you're investing in real estate, like, being rich, great. But I get what you're saying, Jorge. Like seriously, if that's what somebody wants, go for it,
Go for it.
Go for it. And one step at a time, right? One property at a time.
Yeah. One at a time. Yeah. Cause it adds up.
And if you got money, you can, again, if you have a little bit to do one yourself, if you get a partner, then you buy two instead of one. And again, that's kind of how, I started growing into having several properties. It was just inviting some other people. And then, it was awesome to buy more than one. I didn't have one or two. I had 10, right? Yeah. Or whatever the case was. So because at that time we were able to invest with 15% down on an investment. Right now, it doesn't make sense to put 15% down. It's 20, 20%. But again, put 10% yourself, 10% somebody else as an investment property, or buy it as a second home. 10% down, 15% down. If you're going to do short-term rental, and that's a fantastic way to start, because I
got lucky with mine, to be honest. Like, I was visiting a friend, and she was like, well, I don't know what we were doing over there. She's like, you should come see my my beach house and my rental. And I'm like, okay. I happened to call her. I was on the road, and I said, hey, Rosangeli, let's talk about your rental, where you're at. And she goes, oh, well, I'll just have you over, right? And at the time, she was like, I think I know some land. She goes, I think there's some land that they're going to sell. It's very close to the beach. And at the time, they were, they still are working on developing a neighborhood in this little town in Fort Lavaca called Magnolia Beach. And that's how I literally stumbled into it, because I just asked one question: how are things going over there? I remember we were doing a Camp Gladiator, and she mentioned they were going to develop. And I was like, are those going to be cheap houses? Maybe I'll buy one, and just rent it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like super simple long-term rental in a small town. She goes, actually, we're developing a neighborhood. She goes, that's going to take some time. We're doing commercial in the front, residential in the back, 20, 30 houses. She's like, but we're going to start off with this condo, like a two home on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, but come stay at my Airbnb. So I did, and literally, she just knew somebody who was selling the lots, and then and I love the little beach because it's not like this crazy like party beach. It's just like this little sleepy, fisherman's beach. It's got like mixed shell and sand, and her and her husband are pretty savvy, and they have the only storage facility in the town. In the little town, nobody has a storage facility, and that was one of the things that they did. They bought land, built the storage facility, and they're just renting them out, right? Because there's no storages out there. And some lady goes and she's like, putting her whole house in storage. And my friend just says, are you moving? Like, what are you doing? Like, your whole house is in here. And the lady's like, oh no, we're selling our house. We're selling the blue house. And if you know Magnolia Beach, you know the blue house because it's like right there on the beach. And she goes, oh, I think I might know somebody who wants it. She calls me. She goes, Querida, you need to get out here really fast. She goes, you need to hurry up. Am I frozen?
No, you're not frozen. No, I'm laughing because of the way you're like.
Yeah, she was like, get out here fast. And I couldn't get out there that week. And I was like, girl, what are you going to do? She goes, do you have WhatsApp? And I'm like, what's WhatsApp?
Oh my God.
I know, I didn't know. So she's like, you get an account. And with WhatsApp, she took a video of the house. And I was like, I don't know, like, how low will they go? Right.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in that market. And she's a realtor. And I'm a realtor. I could have wrote my own contract, but I don't know anything about that area. She ran comp. She did the whole, I was like, look, just write the contract. Go as low as you think they'll sell it for. I got a steal on that house. We remodeled it and it's beautiful, so sometimes you do run into these situations, right? Not a lot of people know that story. Liza knows it, but
yeah,
I knew right away that was a blessing and an opportunity that I wasn't going to miss. So, you got to think about those things, right? Being strategic and doing things intentionally is one thing, but when opportunities come your way and you can't ignore them all the time because you'll have regrets. And I don't have regrets. And yeah, we've had to put some money into that house, and there's been some little things that we've had to pay for, but because it's not a brand new house, but every penny that we've put into there, we've gotten back, and it's worth it.
Definitely. And I want to touch back on something you said earlier. You said, I only asked one question. And I think that's the mistake people don't do. The mistake that people do is they don't ask enough questions to help them make a decision. They just see what they see and they're like, I don't think this is going to be right for me, without asking to see, how can I do this, or how can I make this happen? And that seems to be the case with both of you guys. You just ask questions and you made shit happen. So that's awesome. I mean, and notice that we didn't even have to discuss, and this is a span like for Jorge since 2005, and you, Melissa, I think this was last year, right?
Or a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago. Despite the market, right? Despite the market, these things are still going on. And going back to the thumbnail that we have, the topic of this conversation is, can I still buy a home? And I think yes, if you're in that position, and I think people sometimes feel that they missed the opportunity or they missed that boat. And I don't think that's the case. And I'm not saying that because I'm a realtor. And it's not like I can get my audience or our audience here to use me as your realtor. It's not even that. It's just trying to help and share knowledge by having professionals on here talk about their own stories and real scenarios that have happened. So I'm not sure if you have any input on that, Jorge.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to tell you that I never saw, I came from Mexico, right? In the sense, and, it was my dad provided me a nice, middle-class Mexico life, which was great. You're not missing anything, right? Any meals or anything like that. And so when I came to the States, I would tell you my mentality part of it was, that I never thought I was going to accomplish much in the financial world. I wasn't good at school. I was good at tennis. I had a great work ethic on that. So the work ethic kind of helped me put in the work and learn stuff. And I realized that I was honestly smarter than I thought, just because not being smart at school didn't mean I was smart enough, but I did. I had great friends. I still have some friends that are really smart, can carry conversations that I can only dream of. And I really actually learned to just not care anymore. I'm like, I'm not interested in that topic. I just move on. but they're smart. So you always think like, man, I just wasn't that smart to make it in life. Right. I'm just going to accomplish 70,000 a year and I'm going to be happy. Right. I was always a happy kid. Always been a happy guy. So it didn't matter what life was going to bring to me. I was going to enjoy it. And it wasn't until later, as I'm trying to push myself, because I didn't have to drive. Over time, it took me a long time. What I think it took me a long time, that I wish I would have had a mentor in my younger years. You have to ask your question of kind of, what am I capable of in this life, right? I mean, for me and my beliefs was, God, I was like, I'm noticing you gave me some skills and some talents, and I'm pretty smart in some stuff. So how far can I go? Like, what are not necessarily what are my limits? It's just kind of how far can I go? And I've been pushing myself harder to be a better version of myself on a daily basis, and mindset, right? For me, kind of changed my mindset. So what I would tell new people is, look, I was just like a lot of people saying, and I don't belong in that world, right? I mean, that's just for other people. They got money, they got lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it was a dream, and it was a dream. And, it was funny because Jenny has always told me, it's like, you're a dreamer. I'm like, I know. And I love it. I'm so happy in my dreams. Right. So, and so I'm like, but I was like, but I continue to work hard. And I'm like, whether God gives me that life or not, it's okay. Like, I'm just gonna, think about it. And so we've always shared some dreams, ambitions, and we've understood the importance of that now. How it's important to share, like, hey, this is what I want to accomplish. This is where I want to go. And she's on top of it, right? Like we're kind of like both going towards that. And so my point is, don't just stare at that people that are on the success table and say, I don't belong there, or there's no way. It's, hey, look, I mean, you're invited too. You just got to keep walking the path. And, sometimes it's going to deviate, and you're going to come back and deviate. You're just going to keep moving forward until you get there one day and go like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I can make it. And so to me, that has been a change, is the mindset. Change your mindset to say, hey, how far can I go? I got some skills. I'm going to put my time to learn. And I was going to tell you something right now. One of my most awesome quotes that I love is from Jim Rome. And he says, work harder on yourself than you work at your job.
Ooh.
And the cool thing about it is, what I love about that quote is that he says, working hard at your job gives you a career, but working hard at yourself makes you a fortune.
Absolutely.
So, because you get to understand that you have no limits, that you're capable of anything you really put your mind to. And that was, to me, that was my biggest thing, was a mindset switch, that whatever I look around, it's an opportunity. And now it's not just mortgage, it's not just real estate. It's any venture that I come across that people start talking about. I'm like, hey, tell me more about it. And it becomes an opportunity. My point is, real estate has given me the tools, the income to be able to put that money to work in different avenues of life. And so you're invited, you're invited to the success table. You just got to put your head down, keep looking at that path, moving forward one step at a time. And you belong. And some people are just the toughest thing that we have is just that we don't believe in ourselves, and so that has been I think that's everybody's struggle, or the fear of the unknown.
Yes, the fear of the unknown, the limiting factor, right? That limiting fear that we have. That's just an illusion, I guess.
But didn't I tell you, Liza? I'm like, I told her 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year. I'm like, now I've advanced to sending her properties almost every day.
Yes.
I'm
you gotta give it a shot. You gotta try it. And look, it's not, again, even if it's you do your due diligence, you gotta feel, don't take too much time thinking about it like crazy, because then you'll miss the deal. Right. But you have to be able to like put together the deal pretty quick in your brain, especially you guys dealing together. Mm-hmm. Hey, it makes sense. Let's do it. Right. I mean, we've definitely pulled the trigger on things in 24 hours. And I was going to be all in. I was like, you know what? I'm buying this myself. But I was talking to, one of my partners at the time. I was like, on the deal, I'm like, dude, I'm buying this duplex. I said, with you or without you, do you want in or do you don't want in?
That's
I said,
all I need.
Yeah, I got to tell him tomorrow. And he's like, okay, screw it. I'm in. I was like, all right. And it's been great,
Yeah.
So, I mean, you sometimes got to pull the trigger quick. And it's not always, just like I said, oh, man, it's so profitable. Like I said, I have my deals that didn't make me money, but you learn and just take those learning opportunities for the next one. And
thinking of like practical things for people who are just like, okay, investing world is too big for me. So let me just think about the one thing, because we have people in the audience that maybe have not bought their first home. So if we're thinking like you do this every single day, you're helping people qualify for either their first home, second home, investment, whatever it is. What is like the 3 things that you would say would affect someone's ability to see the home? Let's talk about that first homeowner, to see a home ownership come to life for them. Like, what are 3 things that you can tell them? You didn't qualify right now, but these are 3 things that I need you to do. And then we circle back, and we're going to make it happen.
Well, I mean, everybody's situation is definitely different, but credit is a must, right? I mean, you got to take care of your credit, pay everything on time. Don't be 30 days late. That's key to buying a house. Put in a little bit of money aside, or paying some debt off. Depends on their situation. If they're what we call debt to income ratio high, meaning, hey, you got 2-3 cars, and credit card debt, we got to lower it a little bit in order to qualify. Or you don't want to put people in a tougher position in the sense like if they don't have a cosigner, right? Or sometimes people have 3 cars, but 2 of those are not theirs. It's like they're family members.
Hey.
Like we get
some of my clients
a lot, right? And so I'm like, get them to refinance it in their name, for goodness sake, so they can qualify or provide proof that they've been paying it for 12 months.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. So save a little bit of money, whatever the goal is, right? I mean, minimum down payment, USDA has 0. So if you're willing to drive a little bit, go outside city limits where the USDA is available, and it's 0% down. You just pay for closing costs, but now the seller can pay for closing costs. Or there's, again, there's down payment assistance programs too, right? You just got to put yourself in that position. So, whether it's credit, income, situation to be in line, and savings, right? A little bit. I mean, it's not a little bit, a lot. If you can save a lot, I mean, stop spending on I would say I was really bad in my early, 20s and early 30s of saving. I was just I wasn't a good saver. I didn't learn about it. I didn't care. I, lived life. I mean, not necessarily on the edge, but it was just Jenny and I were just, not mature enough and responsible enough to put a ton of money in the savings when we could have. And then we learned, it's like, again, I was a conscious decision, around when I was 34, 35. And I was like, okay, boom, I need to start to put in. My goal is to, until I have whatever, 100 grand or whatever it is, like how long is it going to take me? Let's try and see if we can do it in 2 years or whatever the case is.
Let's make this crazy goal and just try.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't make the 100 and you've saved like 40,
but you aim for it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, to me has always been like, you got to stop putting those limits and got to figure out ways to supplement, again, explore your abilities, not just get stuck in this job. If you have a job that just makes you 40, 50,000, but you feel inside that, man, I can do more, go and explore,
Yep.
Go and explore, because that means you're capable of a lot more. So anyways, I mean, yeah. So anyways, so for people is that, just I would say credit, income, and saving, and some savings for sure.
So I was looking at, and you talked about sellers are helping now so that's a benefit. So when you guys are hearing things like this market's, gone to hell in a handbasket, or the interest rate
doom and gloom on the horizon.
Yeah, doom and gloom.
Oh, girl, you froze, Melissa. I gotta take let me see.
I did a picture of
Hold on.
Melissa.
I got it. Hold on. This is so funny.
You suck, Liza.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
not fast enough.
Okay, we can continue. No, I took it, girl.
Okay, she'll share that with y'all in a little bit. She likes to torture me. So listen, guys, this is what I'm saying. The benefit to buying a house now is that all of a sudden, these sellers that were on the high horse for 2 years have come off the horse.
Yep.
And they are ready to make a deal happen. Okay.
Put it nicely, right, Melissa? No.
Yes. So what that looks like for you is it looks like a house you're not going to overpay for a house. You're not going to do that right now, unless you really want that house. But for the most part, people were buying houses at really low interest rates, and they were okay to overpay because the interest rates were a little bit lower, and the market shifted in a way that it made sense for them. People don't want to pay for over houses anymore. So is it a good time to buy a house? Can I still buy a house? The answer is yes. Sellers are negotiating. Sellers are also giving closing costs, and we hadn't seen sellers giving closing costs in 2 years almost. So, and you can do what you want with those closing costs. You can buy points down, and Jorge can explain that, but you're looking at not paying full price for a house right now, potentially buying a rate down, getting closing costs from sellers. Sometimes they're maxing out on the closing costs. And what you're seeing, and I just did a little quick hot sheet here, and this is for Austin, Round Rock, Manor, Pflugerville, Buda, Kyle, and Del Valley. There are 953 homes that did a price reduction. So when I see that, I think to myself,
when you see that, you're hearing opportunity.
Yeah, that's opportunity. So we did this live, right? We did this live for a reason, because I don't want buyers who were on the fence, who maybe felt like they didn't get a deal last year, or when the market was hot, to miss a boat because someone told them your interest rate's really high. You should probably wait. You should probably get a deal right now. And put it to you this way: if somebody walked up to you and handed you $10,000 right now, what would you do with it?
Right.
And if your dream
they
was
would probably hold on to that because someone's telling them that they should wait. So,
yeah.
I mean, the thing
Initials
is,
DR, no, pass. So,
yeah.
well, that's what it is. When sellers are giving you closing costs, I mean, I don't know. You tell me, what would you do with a stack of $10K on your desk, on your kitchen table, and you've had this dream of home ownership, and you have a decent credit score, and you know that, hey, they're going to pay for title. Yeah, they're paying for title policies now, guys, and buyers were paying for title policies for a little while there. But anyway, so I'm looking at these average days on market for homes that have contracted. Let me tell you here, the last 7 days for the cities that I just mentioned. And, if you're a seller, and, we're talking mostly to buyers, but if you're tuning in and you're a seller, expect to have your house on the market an average of 41 days right now, unless you're priced aggressively, or a median of 35 days. So what that tells you buyers is you can actually go shopping right now. Correct. You can actually go shopping. You can chew on it. You can wait till Monday, but do your due diligence. Have your realtor, if you really saw a house over the weekend or when you were shopping that you liked, have your realtor do your due diligence and make sure that the house isn't accepting any offers, because just because you see these averages of days on market doesn't mean the house that you saw and you want to put an offer on is still going to be there. So just go for it. Submit an offer, see if it'll stick. And I promise you that seller is probably going to negotiate with you in one way or another.
Exactly. Or you can call Jorge, ask questions. And Jorge, I don't know, I have your I don't know if that's your phone number or the office phone number, but I did put in.
That's my cell phone number. Correct.
Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's so. And the beautiful thing about it is that I have a really big team behind me that does a great job too, and to answer questions. Everybody in my team is licensed loan officer. They're my loan partners, but they're licensed loan officers that, if for any reason I'm not available in that moment, I can always direct them to somebody that answers questions. And some of them are been in the industry for over 15 years, so they're very knowledgeable as well.
Yeah, I noticed that I used to work with JD Cobb.
Well, JD's he's one of our loan officers in the company.
Oh,
JD, I know.
Yeah, he's got his own. JD has his own team. I have my own team. So there's a lot of good top producers in the company. And we know him. Have your own team, right? I mean, when you're growing and putting up good numbers, you got to have your own team so you can All right, so you're able to serve as a client, first class all the way
Right.
through. So, but my point is, they can definitely call me if for any reason I'm not available. I kind of do a little text and say, hey, if you need me, we can talk at this time, or you can call, Lisa Tricky, who is my right hand on the team, and she can answer any questions. So
Awesome.
Hey, I think I saw your building the other day. I was headed to my bank. Are you right off Lamar? EFG?
we are off Denali Pass in Cedar Park.
Okay, then maybe I saw the wrong building. Maybe I'm thinking.
Oh, you know what you saw? Yeah, so we have Jenny Rivera, and her branch is off of Lamar. That's
Okay.
exactly right.
Okay. I was like,
she is one of our newest member to EFG, and she runs her own branch off of that location, and she's fantastic as well.
yeah, I saw it. I was like, ooh, they're getting all fancy over there with EFG.
Fancy.
Central Austin.
Yeah, to keep up with. No, we're definitely growing, and it's been a fun journey doing that. So
You know what's cool, Jorge, is that this wealth you've accumulated, and then you're doing this helping buyers with home loans or investors.
I was a home buyer. I had no idea what it was. So
that's just so cool. I mean, some people just like, all right, dudes, I'm out,
Peace, retirement.
He's retiring, and you're still at it. That is so cool.
Yeah, I love it. What I understand now is that you have to, I had to create systems. I mean, in this world, for any businesses, you create systems to continue to grow and be your best, but you also have to hire people that are better at some things than what I'm not the best at everything. It's crazy that, honest, I've been in the business for 20 years, and after 18 years before my wife joined me, I think I only had 8 to 10 realtors I work with.
Mm-hmm.
It was tougher for me. I'm shyer, than my wife was, or than she is, and just for the initial conversations, I felt like, I was just begging for business, and it's not that you are, it's just, that's how, again, mindset. Right. And so, so then she came on board, and she's like, hey, I can help you with realtors, and I can talk to them. And I was like,
so good.
You can do it. Great. I mean, you're hired.
Hey, Jorge, can you tell Liza how we met? Do you remember how we met?
Yes. We were saving a deal.
It's a funny story.
We were saving a deal. I was actually driving with Jenny. I think from Austin to Dallas. We had a deal that had some.
I was a listing agent, right?
Yeah, I was a listing agent. We had some fires to put out. I think that the seller's house was not selling, or the buyer's house was not selling. So, and then, Melissa was like, hey, well, we got to figure out a solution. So for me as a lender to hear, it's like, hey, Jorge, let's make this deal work and stuff like that. And literally I got off the phone with that, and Jenny, I looked over at Jenny, and I was like, oh, man, I need to work with realtors like that all the time. I was like, that are just understanding and listening and about making the deal happen, not just like, oh, contract's over, bye-bye, we keep your earnest money, and, let's move on. And so that's when we first talked, right? It was through that, and you were all about hey, let's help each other out. I'll help my seller, let's help the buyer get into the house. And I don't think that specific deal closed because the house didn't sell for the buyer. But man, then we all of a sudden we connected, and we started working together. And that to me, so I feel more comfortable when I'm introduced, or it's not a call for me, I would say, right? And so, and you connect with the agent. I like to connect. I mean, it's a relationship world, and that's who I am at the end of the day at my core. And then just real, it's just kind of feel good, right? I mean, to work with people and good people and stuff. I don't do it for just oh, it's a transaction, it's a business, move on. I can't. I don't work that way. And so, what I realized was I told my wife, I was like, Jenny, I was like, maybe I said, reach out to agents if you can do it. And maybe they, you can bring their walls down a lot faster than I can, right? At least I felt right? Where they can talk to you more comfortable and stuff like that. And because I feel like either I tried too hard or I came too salesy or whatever the case was. But anyways, my point was, with Jenny, we build an amazing group of referral partners that we work with, and I love it.
Mhm.
Like I love being in it. I love growing, and I love coaching our LOs to become as well, big producers and be their best. And so that's why I do what I do. And I'm here, and I'll do this forever. And every single time, because I enjoy very much working with the clients and seeing them happy and getting their pictures. Seeing pictures at closing, they're so happy.
That's the best part. Like not all my clients like taking pictures, by the way, but they're like, no, we don't want to take pictures. I'm like, okay, it's a little awkward, no. But
I don't even ask them. I just say, hey, stand there. Let me get a picture of you.
Oh my God.
Just standing right there with this sign. I love my realtor.
They're like, what am I doing? What is this?
They're smiling like this.
Exactly.
Well, maybe I need to start doing that. I'm like, just stand over there, click. No.
Yeah, I do.
I always ask.
So fun.
But that's the best part. Yeah.
They're happy, and I think that's the kicker. I mean, that's how you were talking about why you joined, and you were seeing something. For me, like the way I joined, I was doing a lot of I was doing in retail home equity loans for the client and putting them in a better financial position, like saving their money. And I love that, like putting people in a better position. I fell in love with the program. And that's when I went into the full commission 100%, I was like, I just want to do mortgages. That's what I want to focus on. And it was just like to help put people in a better position. And then I understood there was a different part, the purchase side and the refinance for just the term and rate and stuff. And I loved it. I've always enjoyed it, and it's been a fun career without a doubt.
Yeah, there's something nice about when someone has a problem and you realize you have a solution to that and that you can help them. Help someone. It's something about just helping someone be in a better position, whether it's refinancing, helping lower their payment, helping them buy a home because they don't know, educating them, coaching them, guiding them, all of that. It's a nice feeling to be able to do that. And sometimes it's a roller coaster, right? It's a roller coaster of feelings. Sometimes I feel like I absorb that energy too. Like if they're down, I'm down too. And I try to be strong to help them out with whatever hurdles we're having to overcome, with the obstacles that are throwing our way. But it's once you get to that finish line, man, it's the best feeling. Wow, we did it. And you build a relationship with them. You know what I mean? They're friends now. I'm like, we're family. That's what I say now. I'm like, we're family now.
You gotta make them feel really good about what they're doing, in the sense of, it's a big purchase. You gotta make them feel happy. And to me, that was, I think, even though I had very little amount of realtors for such a long time, my biggest source of business was my client database. They referred me a ton of business for years. And I was, decent producer in the sense, but, doing 15, 20 million a year in volume, just doing a lot of refinances and some purchases and this and that. And so, because I didn't understand I didn't have the ability to build more relationships with agents and help more on the purchase side, which I wanted to get in. It's just, I just didn't understand it at that time. And
I
so
think you're bringing value to the buyers. Like one of the things I like about EFG is it's very structured. So whenever I do refer out, I usually give like a little tidbit about the lender, and I just say they have good systems, and they'll put you with the right loan officer to make the transaction run more smoothly. And I do think that's what at least for first-time buyers get a little worried about, right? They're like, I have no idea what's going on. Well, we do still do buyer consultations.
Yes.
There's a lot to learn, but I always say the lending side, the money man or the money woman or whatever, like Liza used to do this when we first started in real estate. She'd have like some sort of, what did you do?
I had an Excel sheet.
Good faith estimate. I'm not good at that. And what you talked about, like having your strengths, when I'm talking to these buyers, I'm like, look, I will make a deal happen. I will write that contract. I can negotiate the hell out of a contract. I'm not a lender. Call the lender. Call the lender. So anyway, for people who are a little bit gun shy, where they're like, yeah, I have a little bit of reserve. I do want to buy a house. I'm scared. Don't be afraid. The interest rate, as you mentioned in the beginning, you can refi if you need to. And these are pretty conservative rates relative to what we've seen in the past.
Yes.
And as far as like the process of buying a home, if you're new to it, lenders are really good at explaining the things that matter to most people, which is the money. What does their interest rate look like? How does that affect them in their monthly mortgage payment? And we, the realtors, whoever the realtor is for you, are good at helping you find the right house and helping you navigate what's more important to you. Where is your best? Because one of the things I ask is, where do you spend most of your time? You know, some guys are like, oh, I gotta have, that's no yard. I don't like that yard. I'm like, well, where do you spend your time when you're home? Oh, we're living room people. Look at this huge living room. Do you want to mow that lawn once a week? You know, so we'll help you navigate to find the house. The lenders will help you finance the house for the best loan options for you. And here we are. We're back to negotiating closing costs for buyers. It's a good feeling.
It
We
is.
haven't been here in a long time.
Yeah. So it's nothing scary. I think it's definitely an opportunity if it fits all the parameters for the end buyer. Definitely, guys, use Jorge Aldrete, but you can also call him Jorge. What was the other way?
Jorge, Georgie, George.
How did you say it the other way?
Jorge Aldrete.
Aldrete. Yeah.
Hey, if you can't say Aldrete, you say Aldrete, okay? Mr.
That's
Aldrete.
correct.
Help me
Yes.
buy a home, Mr. Aldrete. But guys, you know, I'm silly. Sorry. I'm a kid at heart. All right.
Hey, we all are.
But anyways, guys, we are going to wrap this up. I had fun discussing.
I did too.
I know this was a lot of fun. It was very real, genuine, and hearing your life story, Jorge, that's really inspiring.
It is very inspiring.
Yeah, the background, everything. And I hope that lays out a clear vision. And you know what it reminded me of? Have you heard of ninja, like a ninja course? Okay. So the ninjas have a saying, the vision comes first and the how-to comes later. So people are always so worried about, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Have your vision first. Start connecting with people that know the answers, like realtors, lenders, investors. And then all of this will start opening up for people. So despite the market, create opportunities, and in other words. So thank you so much.
I agree.
For joining
absolutely. I agree. It's a piece of advice I would tell you. One of the biggest things to do is you got to write down your goals and your dreams and how you want your life to be like. And you have to read it literally. You have to teach your subconscious. I mean, I get into this mindset thing, but I'm telling you, it works. You got, your subconscious can tell the difference between what's real and what's not. So if you tell it, hey, this is the way I'm going to live, this is how I'm living, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you write down those goals and you write down and you read them in the morning, you read them at night. That way it programs your mind. Then you're going to start seeing some big changes in your life. I promise you that.
I did that. I had this crazy thing. I was like, Liza and I were, when we were working with a lot of buyers, I was like, man, I just want to be a listing agent. I mean, now I'm thinking, I wish I had just sort of dreamed it half and half, right? Like half buyers, half sellers. I mean, because now that
I guess that's the dream as a realtor. You want, it's like, hey, I need to get to a listing agent, and then you have a buyer's rep too, right? I mean,
yeah. But I had put this thing in my mind. I was like, what's something crazy? Like, what would be just insane crazy? And I could write it down, think about it, talk about it, visualize it. And I was like, I just want 10 listings a month. And I remember talking to, I don't remember if it was a broker or coach with my brokers. And they were like, that's a lot. You're probably going to need a transaction coordinator. If I don't tell you, it's been almost every month last year. I had some, like at one point in time, whether they were pending, closing, active, and I'm an individual agent, and I did 58 transactions last year.
Oh my gosh,
girl. 90% of those were listings. So
that's awesome.
I had
90%?
Yeah, 90%.
Yeah,
I think I had
on listings.
I had less than a handful of buyers, like less than 10 for sure.
I mean, which was the best thing to be last year, right? At the end of the
it was.
Yeah.
But I visualized it, I talked about it, and I did it. Actually bought
absolutely.
property. I was a buyer twice last year, and once this year, but I don't know. It's just crazy. I dream big, and I was never like that until I became.
Write it down, though. Always write it down, because you got to visualize it. You got to see it. And, I mean, your brain has to just be able to connect with it, right? So your eyes, your brain, everything. So it works. It works wonders. So do it.
Crazy.
Oh, I love it. I love
Subliminal
it.
messages. Buy a house.
Ooh, magic. Throwing magic dust out there to you guys. No?
Thanks,
But,
Jorge. Thank you so much for coming.
yes. Thank you, Jorge.
No, thank you so
for
much
joining our live stream.
for having me here. Call me anytime and I'll jump in here again. It's been fun. I loved it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Again, we are ATX Homegirls. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I keep forgetting to mention that in between the videos, but we have such an engaging conversation that I can't stray away from that. But we do go live every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. Stay tuned for our next topic. And Jorge, thank you so much for joining our live stream. Guys, make sure you
guys were awesome. Thank you.
Yes, we have him here. I have his information pinned, and I will pin it to the description in the YouTube video when I do end this live stream broadcast. But other than that, peace. Bye. I'm